Hello, everybody. Andrew Gallinger with you, and welcome into Game 2 of the homestand for the non-conference slate for Western Wyoming Community College Volleyball. This time, the Mustangs are hosting the Bruins of Salt Lake Community College. Last time out in the home opener, when the Mustang volleyball team hosted Colorado Northwestern Community College, the Colorado squad came into Rushmore Gymnasium, sweeping the Mustangs in 3 sets, 25-17, 25-12, and 25-16 respectively. These two teams, the Bruins and Mustangs, went up against each other last time out on the road at the neutral site Twin Falls, Idaho tournament last time out. So Western Wyoming comes into this matchup with an overall record on the season of 7-12, so they're looking to adjust things and get things going in the right directions. Are the Mustangs? Before things get going, I want to thank a couple of our generous sponsors. Wyatt Joyner, PRCA rodeo announcer and Running J Enterprises owner and affiliate with Running J Rodeo. Wyatt Joyner, a standout in rodeo announcing all across the country as we are underway. I'll get to my second sponsor in just a little bit, as it was serve out left to right by the Bruins, knocked back across by the Mustangs right to left defensively. Mustangs were able to knock it back and get it down from the near side for a soft kill. Mustangs up 1-0. Bruins having to dive for it, but it's knocked off the hands of a middle line defender and out of bounds into the student section. Lady Mustangs up 2-0 here early. There's the serve from the Mustangs. Bruins responding. That drops as front line of Western Wyoming unable to keep that one off of the floor. Diving for that one, no good. 2-1, the point now. Serve gets across for Salt Lake. Western gets it back across. Salt Lake trying to answer. Mustangs responding. Continuing to work it back across each side. Strong play both sides. Long kill attempt. Salt Lake too long and out of bounds. Point to Western Wyoming. 3-1. The score. The hometown Mustangs lead this one here early in the first as the Mustangs serve it. That one just inside the out-of-bounds line. Kill down good enough for Salt Lake. 3-2. The score now. Western Wyoming with just a 1-point lead. Here's the serve from the Bruins. Left side offensively, far side of the floor. Mustangs responding. Long ball left to right. Near to far, that goes too far and out of bounds. Point to Salt Lake. We are tied 3-3. Serve from Salt Lake. Western Wyoming 7. That gets down for a kill. Point to Western Wyoming. From right to center court. 4-3 now. Salt Lake working with it now. Now back across to Western Wyoming. Kill attempt right side. That gets down and good for Western Wyoming. 5-3 now. Western Wyoming extends their lead. Served by the Mustangs. Salt Lake trying to respond. Western with it now. Salt Lake responding defensively. Now they have it. Back across. Western bouncing it all over. Now back to Western. Salt Lake, excuse me. Close to the net. Stays up. Play still remains alive. Diving a couple Western offensive players. Salt Lake gets it across a diving Western defender. And that's a point to Salt Lake Community College. 5-4 now. Here in the first set. Between these two teams, separated by just about 150 or so miles. Western Wyoming saves it from going out of bounds. Play stays intact. Western Wyoming with the block. And that drops towards the back line of the Salt Lake defense. Point to the Western Wyoming Mustangs. 6-4. Western Wyoming Volleyball leads it here in the first. Salt Lake trying. Kill attempt. Long ball too far. Point. Western Wyoming. Mustangs ready for the serve. Here it comes with the 7-4 lead for the home team. Gets it across to the second line of the Bruins. And Western Wyoming unable to handle that defensively, and it drops. That's going to be a point to Salt Lake Community College. 7-5 now, as we still work our way through set number 1. Western Wyoming trying to respond. Salt Lake, they get it killed out. But that's just too far and out of bounds on the far side of the court. Point, therefore, to Western Wyoming. 8-5 now. Salt Lake in their sky blue uniforms. Yellow numbers. Western Wyoming, home white, red numbers. And we've got a timeout as there's a net violation that ties it all up. 7-7 now. That timeout taken by Salt Lake. And we want to thank our second sponsor for this one, Tia Stiles, owner of Inspired Possibilities at Earthwise Wellness in Green River, Wyoming. Inspired Possibilities offering the best massage in Sweetwater County, as well as alternative therapies, including Reiki and many other massages and relaxing therapies. For more, find Tia Stiles and Inspired Possibilities on Facebook to schedule your appointment today for all of Sweetwater's County residents. So we thank Tia Stiles and Wyatt Joyner both for their sponsorship of this one, as we are back to the action as we are in a 7-7 tie between the Salt Lake Bruins and Western Wyoming Mustangs volleyball. As that one was a long ball, went too far, out of bounds. Point to Western Wyoming, therefore. Tie broken. 8-7 now. Salt Lake with the serve diving. Western able to keep it alive. Now back across to Salt Lake. Western Wyoming unable to keep it from dropping. And we are now even 8-8 once again. And now the officials change it. It's a point actually credited to Salt Lake, so it's 9-7. The Bruins with the lead, and there's a ball that drops in front of the front line of Western Wyoming. So now it's Salt Lake Community College with the 10-7 lead on a quick change that we've seen in the last few seconds. As we're back to the action, Western Wyoming diving right side, unable to keep the ball off the floor. That's a point credited to the Bruins of Salt Lake Community College. The visitors from Utah starting to stretch their lead, up by 4 now here in the first set. There's a solid block, second line by Salt Lake. Ball kept alive. There's a block that gets down on the Salt Lake side for a point for Western Wyoming. 11-8 the score now. Western Wyoming with the serve near side. Salt Lake able to get it back across. No kill attempt that time. Western Wyoming does the exact same. Kill attempt for Salt Lake. Far side, that's blocked. Western Wyoming front line. But that gets blocked. Too much force on that block, too far and out of bounds. Therefore, it's a point to Salt Lake Community College as it's off the hands of a Mustang defender. Back to the action. Both sides working at kill attempt. Long for Salt Lake. Therefore, point to Western Wyoming. 12-9 now. Western Wyoming trying to crawl their way back into this one. Down by 3 here in this first set. And there's a net violation for Salt Lake Community College. Point, Western Wyoming. 12-10 the score now. And on the serve, that goes into the net for Western Wyoming. Give a point right back to the Bruins. 13-10 now. The Bruins of Salt Lake Community College still on top here in the first set, as there's the serve from Salt Lake. And there's the kill attempt as Western gets it across. Power from Salt Lake. Gets it just inside the out of bounds line, just in front of the student section of Western Wyoming. 14-10 now. A 14-10 lead for Salt Lake. Long kill attempt, just a bit too far. Point to Western Wyoming. 14-11. The Mustangs trail the Bruins now, here in set number 1. With the serve from Western Wyoming, Bruins respond, get it across. Both sides continuing to work it across. Western Wyoming back with it. Soft touch across. Both sides continuing to look for an open kill opportunity. Nothing there. Salt Lake now with it. There's a kill attempt, but it's blocked. Salt Lake keeps it alive. And there's a kill attempt, center court. Just inside the out of bounds line. And it's good for Salt Lake Community College. 11-15. The score now. And the serve. Backline defender for Western Wyoming, unable to handle that one. Goes out of bounds. Point to Salt Lake. The Bruins lead the Mustangs 16-11 here in the first set. And Salt Lake unable to keep a handle on that one. That bounces into the bleachers behind the Mustang. The Bruins bench, make the score 16-12. 17-12 now as the serve for Western goes long and out of bounds out the right side of the court. 17-12 now off the serve error from the Mustangs. Mustangs with the block, but they're unable to corral it and keep it off the floor. Point to Salt Lake Community College. 18-12. The score now. Bruins with the serve. Western Wyoming with it. Soft touch to get it across by Western Wyoming. But that's into the net. Point Bruins. And before the point was credited, so it's still 18-12. Fred Ann Soto, head coach of the Mustangs, called a timeout, and actually the point was credited, so it's 19-12 now. Timeout still taken by Western Wyoming. Western Wyoming trailing the Bruins 19-12 here in the first set. We did not see this struggle in the opening set out of Western Wyoming. Last time out at home against Colorado Northwestern, as that was a 25-17 set 1 win by Western Wyoming. It looks like this win is going to go the way of Salt Lake unless Western Wyoming was able to figure something out in that timeout. As here's the serve from Salt Lake. Western Wyoming saves it. Gets to the cross. No kill attempt that time. Continuous jockeying. This time Salt Lake unable to handle it in the front line, and it drops. Point credited to Western Wyoming. 19-13 the score. Western Wyoming serves it up. Salt Lake gets it back across. Western Wyoming, second line, loses the handle. That's a point to Salt Lake. Now the Bruins just 5 points away from potentially winning this first set. 20-13 the score now. 1-25 wins the first set. There's a pass attempt by the Bruins to get across. Bounces off the shoulder of a right side front line defender of Western Wyoming and out of bounds. Point to Salt Lake. 21-13 now. The Bruins lead the Mustangs. Soft touch left side for the Mustangs. Didn't look like a kill, but either way it went too far and out of bounds. Point to the Bruins. And there's a kill attempt left side, blocked by the Bruins. 23-13 now. Is that blocked and dropped? That kill attempt too far for the Mustangs. Left to right, it's 24-13 now. And potential set point for the Salt Lake Bruins right here. Diving as a Mustang defender, keeps it alive. Block attempt by the Mustangs. Tries to knock it across. Into the net, can't keep it. And it's a 25-13 set 1 win for Salt Lake. A difficult set 1 for Western Wyoming. Stay with us, folks. Regrouping taking place. We'll see what Western Wyoming can do going into set number 2. Remember, this is the best of 5 between the Western Wyoming Mustangs and the Salt Lake Community College Bruins. Bruins take set 1 in Rock Springs at Western Wyoming Community College, 25-13. Stay with us. This is Andrew Gallinger, and we'll see how set number 2 turns out. Welcome back, everybody. Andrew Gallinger with you on the call for set number 2 of match 2 at home for the 2022 season for Western Wyoming Community College. In this one, Western Wyoming is taking on the Bruins of Salt Lake City. The visiting Bruins won set 1, 25-13. Before set 2 gets going, we want to thank Wyatt Joyner and Tia Stiles. Tia Stiles, owner of Inspired Possibilities in Green River, Wyoming, and Wyatt Joyner, owner of Running J Enterprises and PRCA rodeo announcer with Running J Rodeo. We want to thank both of you for your sponsorship of Andrew Gallinger Sportscasting on Wheels and all sports broadcasting opportunities that I'm able to do within Sweetwater County, so we greatly thank both of you for your support. Getting back to the action as set 2 is about to begin between these two squads. A very difficult first set for the Mustangs is now the Mustangs will be left to right on your radio dial. Bruins right to left. Opening service set 2 by Western Wyoming. Bruins with it, get it across. Mustangs responding, blocked by the Bruins. Mustangs getting back in rhythm offensively, trying to. Bruins kill attempt blocked by the Mustangs. Mustangs having to scramble to keep one alive. There's a dive by the Bruins front line. Continuing to work it around both sides. This is starting to get action-packed as there's a diving defender for Western Wyoming. Just a bit too far out of reach. From right to left for the Bruins offensively, and that's a point for Salt Lake to open up set number 2. And Western Wyoming, trying to save one from going out of bounds, has to hit a ball backwards. That one ends up going into the net, so that's a net violation on Western. Therefore, a point for Salt Lake Community College. The Bruins up 2-0. Bruins with the block. Western Wyoming unable to corral that ball. Bruins up now 3-0. Here in set number 2, and it continues to just look like the Mustangs continuing to just struggle offensively to keep up with the pace. And there's a spark offensively as Western is able to get it down in front of the Bruins offensive line. Here's a serve from Western Wyoming. Let's see if that's the spark that they need. Western Wyoming responsive to the Bruins. Bruins now back with it. Bruins kill attempt across. Just inside the out-of-bounds line. Good for a point for the Salt Lake Bruins. Salt Lake Community College up on Western Wyoming in set number 2, 4-1. Here's the serve, that's blocked. That's blocked as Western Wyoming tries to get it up, blocked by Salt Lake Community College as they try to answer. It gets down on Western side for a point, 5-1. Bruins extending their lead as here both of these sides work it around. Western Wyoming with the block, and that one's good. Across on Salt Lake side, that block goes across, drops for a Western Wyoming point. 5-2 now. Bruins still on top. Kill attempt right to left. That gets down just behind the back line of Western Wyoming. Point for the Bruins. 6-2 now. Bruins serve it. And here's a kill attempt quickly as Western Wyoming soft touch gets it back. The kill center to right is good. Down for the point for the Bruins. 7-2. The Bruins lead the Mustangs now, and the Mustangs needing this opportunity to talk it over. Head coach Ferdinand Soto with assistant Teresa Hallgeier. Western Wyoming just clearly looking outmatched in terms of speed. The speed of the Bruins on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, just appears to be unrivaled at this point. Maybe that's noticeable by even realizing the fact that even I've been behind on keeping up with a couple of the Bruins' points so far in this match, just based on how fast the speed has gone by the Bruins. But out of this Western Wyoming timeout, let's see if the Mustangs are able to respond. Down by 5 are the hometown Mustangs. 7-2. Bruins on top in set number 2. Bruins already took set number 1. 25-13. Here's the serve, gets across to Western Wyoming. Western unable to do anything, they just pass it back. Same with the Bruins. Back in the hands of the Mustangs now. Mustangs block! Bruins dive, but unable to stop the ball from hitting the floor. There's life out of the timeout for the Mustangs, same as the previous timeout. Now let's just see if the Mustangs are able to keep up this spark. Kill attempt to right side, that gets down and good for the Bruins. 8-3 now. And hold on a second, we've got one of the corner officials talking it over with one of the net officials, and now one of the net officials having a conversation with Western head coach Ferdinand Soto. And though the point still stands, it is Salt Lake's. Not sure what the conversation was about as we are back underway. Western Wyoming unable to keep the ball up as they try to volley it up to keep the action going. Front line of the Mustangs offense unable to do that, and it drops. Therefore, it's a point for Salt Lake Community College. Bruins extend their lead 9-3 over the Mustangs here in set number 2. Diving for a dig is Western Wyoming's second line. Nothing there, unable to keep one up. Point to Salt Lake. 10-3 now. Make it 11-3 as the right side of the Western Wyoming offense dives to keep it alive. And into the net, and it's a point to Salt Lake. And there's another point to Salt Lake on a net violation. 11-3 now. But there's Western responding as they get a soft touch across. Bruins unable to handle one at the front line. 11-4 now. Here in the second set. Western Wyoming. Their serve from the far side of the floor, left side. Too long, out of bounds. Point to the Bruins. 12-4. The visitors lead. Set number 2. Now the Salt Lake coaching staff having a conversation with one of the net officials who's now conversing with the scorers and officials table. So we've got a stoppage in play for a couple minutes here. A point needed to be added, so it's 13-4. Bruins lead. With the serve, gotten across Western Wyoming, trying something, but Bruins block it and it gets down. Point to Salt Lake off of a strong defensive block. It's a 10-point lead now for the Bruins. 14-4 over the Mustangs. Long kill attempt, too far and out of bounds for Western Wyoming. Point to Salt Lake. 15-4. The score now. Bruins dominating set number 2. And there's a kill attempt center court that gets down for Western Wyoming, just in front of the out of bounds line. Point for the hometown team. It's a 10-point set number 2. 15-5. Make it 16-5 now as the serve from Western Wyoming goes too long and out of bounds. An 11-point lead now for the Bruins over the Mustangs. With the serve from Salt Lake, Western gets it softly across. Bruins respond. Now Salt Lake tries to answer defensively, unable to do anything as Western Wyoming left side of the front net able to get it across for a kill. That's 6 points in the second set for the Mustangs, but it's still a 10-point deficit for the hometown team. 16-6, make it 9 now as the kill gets down just in front of the Bruins back line. 16-7 now, perhaps a little bit of a spark, much needed for the Western Wyoming squad. 16-7 now. There's another point as Salt Lake is unable to keep that one up as they try to volley it around offensively. That drops for a point. 16-8 now. Off the serve, Salt Lake responding now back across to Western. Both sides continuing to work it across. Kill attempt, Salt Lake, Western Wyoming, unable to keep up with the handle. That's credited as a point to the Bruins of Salt Lake Community College. 17-8 now the score. Served by Salt Lake, gets to the cross. Western Wyoming soft touch. Salt Lake gets it back across for a second touch by Western offensively. Blocked by Salt Lake, but it's knocked out of bounds into the bleachers. Point Western Wyoming. 17-9 now. Served by the Mustangs. At the other end, strong kill attempt. Center to left. Point to Salt Lake City and the Salt Lake Community College Bruins. 18-9. The lead for the visitors from Utah now. Western Wyoming, strong kill, center to right. That gets down just in front of the out of bounds line. Over the outstretched arms of the right side defender. Left side defender if you're the Bruins. 18-10. Make it 19-10 now as Western Wyoming unable to keep up the handle of a pass across from Salt Lake. Here's the serve from the Bruins. Western, what can they do with it? As it's brought in by the Bruins. Back across now to Western. Western gets it across to the Bruins. Now Bruins quickly across to Western. Western kill attempt. Right side. That goes long and out of bounds. Completely uncontested by the Bruins. It's back to a 10-point lead for the Bruins. 20-10. Salt Lake Community College leads Western Wyoming. Bruins potentially just 5 points away from taking a commanding 2-set lead over Western Wyoming. And there's a strong block by Western after Salt Lake gets it across. Both sides now working it across. Salt Lake potentially caught flat-footed there. It looks like Western able to answer off the miscommunication as that gets down. Back line of the Bruins defense for a point. 20-11 now. Western Wyoming still with a long way to go to get back into this set. Soft touch Bruins knocked that one out of bounds into the fans on the far side of the court. Point to Western Wyoming. 20-12. The score now. Bruins still on top. And there's a kill attempt by Salt Lake. Long and out of bounds. Point to Western Wyoming. Western Wyoming with another as an attempt across gets off the hands of a Bruin backline defender. Western Wyoming slowly crawling back into this. Your score 20-14. Recent errors by the Bruins giving Western Wyoming life as there's an error by the Mustangs. Loose ball knocked out of bounds. Point to the Bruins. It's 21-14 now. Bruins just 4 points away from taking the second set. And now we've got the Salt Lake Bruins taking a timeout here in this second set. I want to remind you this will be our final home broadcast of Western Wyoming Volleyball as they are on the road now until early October. But I'll be back with coverage of them when they're back at home via their remote feed as I'm doing now. Same thing for all of Rock Springs High School's athletics, so I thank them for their support. Thanks to Inspired Possibilities owner Tia Stiles for her sponsorship of this contest. Tia Styles and Inspired Possibilities, offering the best massage in Sweetwater County, as well as alternative therapies, including Reiki. You can find and follow Tia Styles and Inspired Possibilities on Facebook. Tia Styles and Inspired Possibilities, thank you for your support as we are back to action here late in the second set. Bruins with it, get it across to Western Wyoming. Western Wyoming stopped via the block. But that gets down on the Bruins side of the floor. Point, Western Wyoming. 21-15 now. Kill attempt blocked by Western Wyoming from Salt Lake. Salt Lake trying to rebound. There's a block by Western Wyoming. But that block, too much force. That goes over the heads of the Salt Lake defense and out of bounds. Point to the Bruins. 22-15 now. Bruins still in front as there's the serve. Western trying to respond. Salt Lake answering offensively. Kill attempt, that gets down left to right. Point to the Salt Lake Community College Bruins, and Bruins now just 2 points away from taking set number 2. 23-15 the score now. And as we've got a Western defender trying to save one from going out of bounds, hitting it backwards, goes into the net. That's a net violation and point to Salt Lake. Here's the set point for the Bruins potentially. Western able to knock it back across, as is the Bruins. Bruins attempt with the kill to win the second set. That goes long. Point, Mustangs from left to right. The kill too far and out of bounds. 24-16 now. Here's the serve from the Mustangs. Once again, the potential set point for the Bruins. And that kill once again too long for the Salt Lake Bruins. 24-17 now. Western Wyoming staying alive here in the second set. And there's a kill right to left. That stays just inside the out of bounds marker. And the Salt Lake Bruins take set number 2. 25-17. A second set that saw the Western Wyoming Mustangs put up a valiant effort late, but in the end, not enough to outlast the Bruins. The Bruins sweep the first 2 sets here at Western Wyoming. And as we head into the break, we'll thank again our second sponsor, Running J Rodeo and PRCA announcer, owner of Running J Enterprises, Wyatt Joyner. For info, go to runningjenterprises.com for all of your landscaping needs in the Oklahoma area, or if you're interested in catching Wyatt Joyner announcing rodeos across the country, you can find Wyatt Joyner on Facebook at Running J Enterprises or Wyatt Joyner, both on the rodeo side or for his landscaping company in the Oklahoma and Texas area. And also thanks again to this specific match sponsor, Tia Styles, owner of Inspired Possibilities at Earthwise Wellness in Green River, Wyoming, offering the best massage in Sweetwater County, as well as alternative therapies that include Reiki and many others. You can find and follow Tia and Inspired Possibilities on Facebook. Stay with us, everybody. The potentially third and final set for Western Wyoming and Salt Lake Community College is coming up next. This is Andrew Gallinger. You're listening to Western Wyoming Community College Volleyball on the Sportscasting on Wheels Play-by-Play podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the third set in this second home match of the 2022 season for Western Wyoming Community College. In this one, the Mustangs are taking on the Bruins of Salt Lake Community College. The visiting Bruins from Salt Lake have taken both sets. Set 1, 25-13, set 2, 25-17. So this one, match critical for Western Wyoming. Win this one, the match stays alive for the Mustangs. Lose it, and it's the Bruins. Not the way they wanted to start as Salt Lake serves. Mustangs try to answer, and a dig attempt into the net. That's a net violation for Western Wyoming. Point to the Bruins. Western Wyoming diving, trying to do something offensively, and can't come up with the handle. Salt Lake Community College up 2-0 here early in this match critical third set. And you can see that Western Wyoming head coach Fred Ansoto is starting to get frustrated there on the right side of the court, as there's a kill attempt by Western Wyoming, center to right, that goes too long and out of bounds. Therefore, it's a point to Salt Lake Community College. So a 3-0 lead here early in the third set for the Salt Lake Bruins. There's a rebound for Western Wyoming. Same spot as the last kill attempt that went long. Center to right. This time it gets down just inside the out of bounds line. Point to Western Wyoming. 3-1 now. Bruins with it now. Get it back across to the Mustangs. Mustangs on the right. Get a soft touch one. Down. Salt Lake left side. Unable to come up with the handle on that one. That's a point for Western Wyoming. 3-2. Make it now 4-2 as the serve from the Mustangs into the net. Here's the serve from the Bruins. Now back to the Mustangs. Mustangs kill attempt. That's stopped by the Bruins. Back across to the Mustangs now. Bruins with it. Setting up themselves offensively. Kill attempt. That's just inside. From right to left. Near to far. That kill is good for the Bruins with the point. Bruins lead the third set. 5-3. That one gets across. Here's Western Wyoming trying to respond. Get one across. That goes too far. Point to Salt Lake. 6-2. Western trying to respond. Kill attempt. Salt Lake answers. On the kill attempt, it's off the hands of a backline Western defender and out of bounds. Point to Salt Lake Community College. It's 7-2 now. And just like last set when it was 7-2, we've got a Western Wyoming timeout. And we are seeing a lot of frustration from head coach Fred Soto, and she is not happy with her players. As we are looking off to our right here on the Western Wyoming video screen. And on the other side, Salt Lake, very calm, cool, and collected. And Western Wyoming is not having a good night, and you could see it in the body language of head coach Fred Soto. The coach and the team not happy. As they have been on a skid lately, losing their last 6 matches. Have Western Wyoming is there's perhaps a spark as it's a serve into the net for Salt Lake. Same as it's been for Western Wyoming out of the last 3 timeouts now. This is the 3rd one coming out of the timeouts. Western Wyoming has ended up with the point, be it for them offensively or an error from Salt Lake. Either way, though, it's a point for Western Wyoming, 7-3 now. And just like that, that's a Salt Lake Community College point, as it's a net violation for Western Wyoming as they try to wrangle in the ball offensively. 8-3 now in this match critical 3rd set. Bruins with the serve. Western responding. Hard enough kill. Salt Lake unable to come up with the handle. It's knocked into the net by a Salt Lake player. Point to Western Wyoming. 8-4 now. Block by Western Wyoming. But that's off one of the Mustangs' fingertips and out of bounds. Point to the Bruins, as it was right side of the Mustangs' front line. 9-4 the score now. Bruins now with it. Block attempt by Western Wyoming. Nothing doing that time. It drops on the western side of the floor, moving left to right on your radio dial. Point to the Bruins. Salt Lake leads 10-4. Set number 3. Kill attempt too long, left side, Western Wyoming. Therefore, it's a point to the Bruins. 11-4. Here's the serve from Salt Lake to Western Wyoming. Attempt to get it across into the net. That's a net violation for the Mustangs. Point to Salt Lake Community College. 12-4 the score now. Make it 13-4 as we've got a net violation on a block attempt from Western Wyoming Community College. Both the front line defender of Western Wyoming and Salt Lake were up against the net, but the Western offensive player leaning into the net, therefore a point to the Bruins. Bruins now back with it. And kill attempt center to left. That goes just too long and out of bounds for the Bruins. Point to Western Wyoming. 13-5 now. Here's the serve from Western Wyoming. Now across to the Bruins. Bruins passing it around. Soft touch across. Western gets it back across. Both sides volleying back and forth. Block from Salt Lake. And as Western tries to get it across, Net violation. Mustangs. Point. Bruins. Salt Lake continues to lead the third set 14-9. 14-5, excuse me. Here's the serve from the Bruins. Stayed alive on an erratic play by Western Wyoming. It gets across. Bruins trying to regroup. Bruins do just that, and it drops in front of a diving Western Wyoming middle line defender. 15-5 the score now as we've got a timeout. Second timeout taken by Western Wyoming. And Western Wyoming and head coach Fred Soto not as angry and animated in this timeout, but she still looks like she's very much trying to emphasize multiple points to her team. A difficult night on the floor for the Western Wyoming Mustangs volleyball team. And unless they can figure out something down by 10, with Salt Lake only needing 10 more points to win the match, this contest looks like it will be going the way of the Salt Lake Community College Bruins, barring a big change from Western Wyoming Community College. Both teams out of the timeout now. Bruins with the serve. Let's see what Western Wyoming can do. Both sides keeping it alive. Long one for the Bruins, but too far. There's a point, and again, the streak for Western Wyoming getting a point out of timeouts stays alive. And at the other end, Western Wyoming serves off the point, but that serve goes too long and out of bounds. Western Wyoming just giving back prayers, essentially, to Salt Lake Community College. It's back to a 10-point lead for the Bruins. Not the way that Western Wyoming is going to be able to crawl back into this one. 16-6, the lead. And as Western Wyoming gets ready, you can see both coaches for Western Wyoming, Fred Soto and assistant Teresa Allgaier, visibly frustrated as we got a stoppage in play as they talk to one of the referees, officials perhaps, talking over a question with that long serve. Last time they credited Salt Lake with the point to give the Bruins back a double-digit lead. A rough night for the Mustang volleyball team, but we're certainly seeing them fight. But Salt Lake Community College, clearly the more powerful team in this contest. Fred Soto finishing up her conversation with the official, and we are ready to resume play. Bruins lead by 10, 16-6. Bruins need just 9 more points to win this match. Can Western pull out a miracle and keep this match alive? Both sides keeping it going. Volleying it across the floor. Both sides with erratic offensive plays, and then having to scramble defensively. And there's a point for Western Wyoming on a long ball kill attempt from Salt Lake Community College. 16-7 now. Serve from Western across to the Bruins. There's a kill attempt off the hands of a Western backline defender and knocked out of bounds. Point to the Bruins. 17-7 now. Here's the serve from Salt Lake. Western with it now. It's blocked. Blocked as Western front line tries to get it across. Western unable to come up with the handle to respond, and it's a point to Salt Lake Community College. 18-7 now. Bruins just 7 points away from winning this match. Make it now 6 points away as a diving right side defender for the Bruins makes contact with the ball, but unable to keep that from flying into the stands. 19-7 the score now. Kill attempt. Bruins knocked out of bounds by a diving second line defender for Western Wyoming. 20-7 the score now. Bruins just 5 points away from sweeping the Mustangs. And there's a point for the Mustangs as diving to keep it off the floor. Salt Lake Community College second line player knocks it into the net. 20-8. The numbers on the scoreboard now. The Salt Lake Bruins still handily in front. And there's a double tap violation for the Bruins. That's a point to Western Wyoming. 20-9 the score now. Here's the serve by Western. Salt Lake unable to come up with the handle, knocked out of bounds into the scorers table. Point to Western Wyoming. 20-10 now. Here in this critical third set. Salt Lake Bruins wins this one. It's match over. So Western Wyoming needs this set for the match to continue. Western with it now gets it across to the Bruins. Bruins, what can they do? Get it across. Western Wyoming unable to keep it up, and head coach Fred Soto clearly frustrated. You saw her clap her hands in clear frustration with her team there. 21-10 the score now. Bruins with it. Blocked by the Mustangs. Kept alive by the Bruins. Diving is the Western backline defender, unable to be kept off the floor. Point, Salt Lake Community College. Now the Bruins just 3 points away from winning this match outright in a 3-set sweep. 22-10 now. The serve from the Bruins into the net make the score 22-11. Here's the serve from Western Wyoming. Blocked by the Mustangs, but they can't keep up the handle on it. It drops on the Mustangs' side of the floor. Point Bruins. And the ill-fated defensive play after a very strong block by Western Wyoming. 23-11. Long serve too far for the Bruins. Out of bounds, point Western Wyoming. Make it 23-12. Reminder, playing to 25. There's a long serve, too far and out of bounds. It's now potentially the match point for the Salt Lake Community College Bruins, 24-12. Let's see what happens. Bruins with the serve. Western Wyoming needs many prayers now. And Western Wyoming defensively trying to save it. Knocked out of bounds. Nothing doing. It's over. Salt Lake Community College sweeps Western Wyoming in 3 sets. 25-13 in the first, 25-17 in the second, and 25-12 in the third set. A very difficult night all around for Western Wyoming, as they just could never get going against a clearly faster and stronger Salt Lake Community College team. After this one, Western Wyoming falls to 7-13 on the year. Reminder, folks, our next broadcast of Western Wyoming Volleyball will not be until mid-October, so hopefully by then we'll see Western Wyoming with the record closer to even, or better yet, a winning record, as Salt Lake Community College comes into Western Wyoming in non-conference play and sweeps the Mustangs. Next time we see you for a Western Wyoming broadcast, it will be for the start of conference play in Region 9. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Salt Lake Bruins victorious in a 3-set sweep over Western Wyoming, 25-13 in set 1, 25-17 in set 2, and 25-12 in set 3. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This has been Western Wyoming Volleyball with Andrew Gallinger, and also thanks to our Mustang and Andrew Gallinger play-by-play broadcasting sponsors: Wyatt Joyner, PRCA rodeo announcer, owner of Running J Enterprises and Running J Rodeo, as well as Tia Stiles, owner of Inspired Possibilities at Earthwise Wellness. Thank you both, and we'll see you next time for more Sweetwater County athletics coverage. This has been Andrew Gallinger with the Sportscasting on Wheels podcast with play-by-play coverage. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great one. We'll see you next time.